Hi guys. You'll be happy to hear that my voice is finally back to normal, which is great. I'm hoping now that it's finally back to normal, mostly. Sometimes I've nasty stuff better. That it will drop a little bit. um, let's see. So this week, the sorry, where are we? Oh, sorry. Um, the topic is what are your thoughts on the theory that gender is socially constructed and is learned? Do you think it's true? To what extent? What are your thoughts? Um, I've talked about this quite a bit over a long period of time. And to be honest, this is a difficult topic for me because, on one hand, I think the nature of the beast is that, yes, uh, gender is a socially constructed thing. And therefore, we are all products of um, the world's view of gender, or our society's view of gender. Um, and so, okay, the reason I'm having a hard time talking about this is because I feel like my views on this both counteract and explain my trans status. Like it's not very balanced. I feel like my opinions on this are very mixed. Um, I believe that gender is a socially constructed thing, and that's true. But I also believe that, okay, so you are socialized in such a way that you're socialized based on your genitalia. Um, and if you feel unbalanced by that, you're trans. Do you know what I mean? Like if you decide, well, I was raised socialized female, but I don't feel like I'm female. Um, so you go male, or vice versa. But at the same time, you are transitioning to another gender stereotypical role. Most of the, I mean, that's the essential idea, at least. Um, you're still identifying with the social constructs, and you are identifying your gender based on another person's view on what gender it should be. And you, in turn, you learn this gender. Though you weren't socialized as such, you still understand. You're socialized to know, well, let's say you're raised female, and you don't feel female, you feel male, but you still base that on the way that you're taught males are. And I think this is why a lot of people have a hard time, because a lot of people that are trans that put it off for a long time feel like they're less than. Okay, for example, though I thought I was trans for a long time, I didn't really completely decide to transition until I came to college. And I think that's because um, at school, I am one of many guys who aren't really interested in sports and aren't really interested in cars. I'm more interested in art and philosophy and etc. etc. Back home, if you weren't interested in football or cars, then you aren't a real man, so to speak. So I thought, well, I can't be trans. I can't be a man in a female body because I don't feel like these other men feel. I'm too feminine for that. But I'm just, so, does this make any sense about the topic? I could go on about a million different directions with this topic about gender being socially constructed and gender being learned. And I think that it is nature versus nurture. There's a bit of both in every situation. My sister growing up was more tomboyish than I was, and now she's a very feminine. I mean, she still likes Mortal Kombat, but she's also a dancer. So, and she was. I think that's why I also never. When I was a kid, I never thought I never was like, oh, I'd rather be a boy when I was little. I mean, I did when I first hit puberty. I said, well, I wish I was a boy, but my mom chalked that up too well. Most little girls don't really want to have their period, but my sister was even more tomboyish than I was. So to me, that's just how it was. Like there was nothing weird about me being a masculine kid because my sister was also a masculine girl. So, but we were raised by my mother, who she was a single mom and had 3 kids, and she worked on the cars herself, and she was a pretty masculine. Not that she's masculine. She's not masculine, but she doesn't box herself in as, oh, well, I can't fix the furnace because it's a man's job, for example. So in that sense, in my personal experience, gender is a learned thing, and I learned that, though my mom never told me this, that gender is fluid. She didn't tell me this, but she expressed that through her actions. Men couldn't ever tell a woman what to do. Women can do anything men can do, blah, 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 blah. But everyone has a different experience, so I can only talk based on my own experience. So I think gender is a learned thing. I mean, it's the concept of performativity. You perform the role that you're given, and you acclimate to it, and you become comfortable with it. I don't know why some people don't. We were talking about that. If you act a certain way, if you change your actions based on something, and you act a certain way for a long period of time, you'll believe it. It's like when you lie long enough, you believe the lie. So why is it that sometimes we can't acclimate to our own lies? Why do, after years and years and years of trying to be feminine, do trans guys say, well, that's not working for me? Or why, after years and years and years of being as butch as they can, trans women realize, well, I have to change? Because it's both, I mean, I think the thing that we should do as trans people is we shouldn't try, okay, being trans male, I'm talking in generalizations about trans men, so I keep using those examples, so sorry to trans women who want me to say, but it's the same idea. When I began my transition, I don't consider myself a feminine person, but I'm not going to give up the things that are considered feminine about me to make someone happy. I'm not going to dislike musical theater now because it makes me feminine, because I like musical theater. And so what I'm doing is I'm adjusting myself so I'm happy with myself. I'm not changing my gender. Do you know what I mean? And I think that as trans people, we have an obligation to ourselves and to other trans people to not perpetuate gender stereotypes and to teach each other and other children and other adults that gender is what we make it, and you should teach people to be people universally, and gender should come organically, although in that sense there really is no organic gender, is there? I mean, to an extent there is, hormonally there is, but hormones aside there really isn't. I don't know. This makes no sense. I'm trying to pack everything into 10 minutes, and I could probably talk about this for 2 hours. So not one thing I've said makes any sense, and I apologize, but hopefully you guys find it interesting. Okay, I will talk to you next week.